awkward when Ashton Kutcher joined Two and a Half Men since you both dated Demi?
Dated?
I didn't get on with Ashton Kutcher, so he was pissed, and he comes on with an attitude.
Hollywood is built on charm, fame, and illusion. Some stars master that illusion so perfectly that the public only ever sees the smile, the charisma, and the success. Ashton Kutcher is one of them, a man who built his brand on humor, quick wit, and a charming boyishness that made him one of the most recognizable faces in the early 2000s. But behind the smiles and the success, not everyone is a fan. In fact, a surprising number of celebrities have publicly admitted they just can't stand him. Some call him rude, others arrogant, and a few still hold grudges that go back more than a decade. These are the celebrities who have openly expressed their dislike for Ashton Kutcher and the stories behind those bitter feelings. Number 1. Sharon Osborne, the rudest celebrity I've ever met. Sharon Osborne is never one to bite her tongue. She's spent decades in the entertainment industry, and she's seen it all, from rock stars to rising stars. But when she was asked during a 2023 interview to name the rudest celebrity she's ever met, she didn't even pause to think. Her answer? Ashton Kutcher. Without hesitation, she called him a rude little boy. She even added another jab, a dastardly little thing. According to Sharon, the incident took place when Ashton appeared on her talk show, The Talk. She said he came in with an air of arrogance, acting as if he owned the room, when he questioned her credentials and asked, "What have you done in this industry?" She fired right back. Osborne recalled thinking, "Don't start with me, kid, because I'm going to eat you alive." For her, it wasn't about ego, it was about respect. She's the wife and longtime manager of rock legend Ozzy Osbourne and a veteran in entertainment television. So, when a younger star like Ashton came in with what she called a know-it-all attitude, that moment stuck with her. Years later, she still stands by her words. Even when the clip resurfaced online, Sharon never apologized. For her, Ashton Kutcher represents something that bothers many in Hollywood, a new generation of stars who think fame equals experience. Number 2. Justin Moore. Miranda Lambert may have given Ashton Kutcher the benefit of the doubt after his 2012 Country Music Awards performance, but Justin Moore didn't share that grace. Moore, a proud traditional country singer, took offense to Kutcher's choice of outfit, a giant cowboy hat, a bright red Western jacket, and a big belt buckle, all worn during his short rendition of George Strait's I Cross My Heart. As the show aired, Moore made his feelings public. He tweeted, "Seeing Ashton Kutcher at the ACMs tonight. What a douche. I don't care for people making a mockery of the way country artists dress." To him, Kutcher's playful act wasn't funny. It was disrespectful. Kutcher quickly hit back online, tweeting, "Justin Moore calls it mocking. I call it respecting your elders. Maybe that's old-fashioned. Know when to fold 'em, brother." His lighthearted defense suggested that he meant no harm and was only showing love to country legends. Moore didn't see it that way. He fired back again, saying, "Go listen to Alan Jackson, Gone Country, brother. You can't hang with me on old country, buddy. Not gonna happen." The clash revealed two different worlds, Kutcher's Hollywood humor and Moore's loyalty to country authenticity. While Miranda Lambert later met Kutcher at the Kentucky Derby to take a selfie and move on, Justin Moore never made peace. Number 3. Kathy Griffin, the celebrity who felt snubbed. Kathy Griffin is known for calling people out, but her story about Ashton Kutcher isn't just about comedy. It's about being ignored. Griffin recalled attending a charity event in 2005 where both she and Kutcher were involved. She said she tried to make small talk, but he didn't respond. Not once. She figured maybe he was shy or distracted, but the story didn't end there. A while later, she ran into him again at a local Mexican restaurant. She smiled, waved, and said hello. Once again, nothing. No nod, no smile, not even eye contact. In her book, Celebrity Run-Ins, My A to Z Index, Griffin wrote, "If you won't say hi to me in the Mexican takeout joint, you're a D-bag." She felt dismissed, like Kutcher saw himself as too important to acknowledge her. Griffin wasn't just hurt, she was angry. Because in Hollywood, where everyone pretends to be friendly, that kind of cold treatment stands out. And for Griffin, it wasn't just a snub. It was a symbol of Hollywood's silent hierarchy, where the A-listers act like everyone else is invisible. Number 4. Melissa Joan Hart, the unwelcome guest. Before she was known for her calm, family-friendly image, Melissa Joan Hart had a fiery side, and Ashton Kutcher managed to find it. In her memoir, she revealed that she once had to kick Ashton Kutcher out of her house, not once, but twice. The reason? He wouldn't stop making snide comments and refused to follow her house rules. It happened during a party in the early 2000s. Kutcher was smoking indoors, despite being asked not to. When Melissa reminded him, he allegedly made sarcastic remarks and continued anyway. She said, "Ashton and I just didn't get along. It wasn't about drama or jealousy. It was about basic respect." For Melissa, the incident was enough to leave a lasting impression. She didn't make a big deal of it publicly at the time, but years later, she still remembered him as one of the rudest guests she'd ever had. Once again, the pattern appears. Ashton's confidence often rubbed people the wrong way, and what he may have seen as humor or confidence, others saw as arrogance. Number 5. Charlie Sheen, the disgruntled predecessor. Few rivalries in television were as public and bitter as Charlie Sheen versus Ashton Kutcher. The feud started in 2011 when Charlie Sheen, the star of 2.5 Men, was fired from the show due to his erratic behavior and controversial comments. The studio replaced him with Ashton Kutcher, and that's when everything exploded. At first, Sheen appeared to take the high road. He publicly wished Ashton well and said he hoped the show would continue to thrive. But it didn't last long. A few months later, Sheen flipped. He took to interviews and social media to slam both the show and Kutcher. He told TMZ, "I'm tired of pretending the show doesn't suck. I'm tired of pretending Ashton doesn't suck." It was brutal. Sheen didn't hold back his resentment, making it clear that he saw Ashton as an unworthy replacement, someone who didn't understand the role or the humor that made 2.5 Men a hit. For years, Sheen kept making subtle jabs. Even after apologizing in 2014 and admitting he was stupidly mean to Kutcher, the damage was already done. Kutcher once responded saying that he'd had enough of Sheen's public attacks. Their feud became one of Hollywood's most well-known replacements gone wrong, a clash of egos, pride, and legacy. And even though years have passed, fans of the show still debate who the better Charlie really was.
6. Demi Moore, the pain behind closed doors. This next one cuts deeper than any public feud. Because unlike Sharon or Kathy, Demi Moore's story with Ashton Kutcher isn't about disrespect in an interview. It's about betrayal in a marriage. Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher got married in 2005. Their relationship made headlines everywhere. She was 15 years older, a Hollywood icon, and he was one of the biggest young stars in the world. For a while, they looked perfect. But behind the cameras, things were falling apart. In her memoir, Inside Out, Demi revealed that during their marriage, she tried to mold herself into what Ashton wanted. She said she wanted to be the fun, adventurous wife, even agreeing to things she wasn't comfortable with, like bringing a third person into their relationship. But the experiment backfired. Shortly after, rumors of Ashton's infidelity began to surface. The final blow came in 2011 when reports claimed he cheated on her the night before their 6th wedding anniversary. Moore wrote that she felt devastated and humiliated. She said she had given up so much of herself trying to keep him happy, only to be betrayed. After their divorce, Demi didn't go on a public hate campaign. She didn't need to. Her book said everything. Her pain, her disappointment, and her feeling of being replaced were clear. For Ashton, the backlash was severe. Many fans turned on him, accusing him of being disloyal and selfish. For Demi, it was a chapter she wished she could erase. Their story remains one of Hollywood's most talked about heartbreaks, proof that even the most glamorous relationships can end in silence and resentment. 7. Trent Reznor, the musician who called him out. Not all of Ashton's critics come from Hollywood. Some come from the world of music and technology. Trent Reznor, the frontman of Nine Inch Nails, is known for being brutally honest. When Ashton started promoting himself as a tech genius and social media pioneer, Reznor wasn't impressed. In an interview, he said, "I don't want to hear about Ashton Kutcher being a tech genius. He seems like an asshole." For Reznor, it wasn't personal. It was symbolic. He saw Ashton as an example of how Hollywood invades every space, using fame to gain credibility in industries they don't really belong to. In his eyes, Ashton wasn't an innovator. He was just another actor pretending to be one. And his blunt criticism struck a nerve with fans who agreed that celebrity culture often overshadows real talent in tech and art. 8. Diddy. There was a time when Ashton Kutcher and Sean "Diddy" Combs were actually friends. They met during the early 2000s MTV era, back when Ashton was running his hit prank show Punk'd, and Diddy was one of the biggest names in hip-hop. The two got along, hanging out in Los Angeles, appearing at the same parties, and even sharing some on-camera moments. But over the years, that friendship quietly faded. Ashton once called Diddy a fun guy to hang out with, but in a later interview, his tone changed completely. When he was asked about Diddy, Ashton simply smiled and said, "There's a lot I can't tell." Then he laughed awkwardly, adding, "Can't tell that one either." That single comment said everything. It hinted at stories, secrets, and experiences that Ashton clearly didn't want to revisit, at least not publicly. And as Diddy's name started showing up in more and more headlines for all the wrong reasons, Ashton's silence became louder. Today, there's no sign that Diddy and Kutcher are still friends. They don't follow each other on social media, they don't talk about one another, and they definitely haven't been seen together in years. Some reports even suggest that Ashton feels betrayed, that he's worried about how Diddy's actions could affect anyone who used to be close to him. It's not open hatred, but it's definitely not friendship anymore. What they once had seems gone, replaced by distance, caution, and quiet tension. Ashton isn't saying much, maybe because he doesn't need to. The way he avoids the topic says it all. Sometimes in Hollywood, silence isn't peace, it's protection. Why so many dislike Ashton Kutcher? When you step back and look at all these stories, a pattern starts to appear. Every one of these people, from Sharon Osborne to Trent Reznor, experienced Ashton Kutcher a different way, but their complaints sound surprisingly similar. They describe him as arrogant, as dismissive, as someone who walks into a room and makes it clear he thinks he's the smartest person there. Of course, that doesn't mean it's all true. In fact, many others who've worked with him praise his professionalism and intelligence. He's built a successful acting career, made smart investments, and devoted much of his time to fighting human trafficking through his foundation, Thorn. But as we all know, personality clashes in Hollywood rarely stay private. Some people thrive in environments where confidence is key. Others see that same confidence as ego. And Ashton Kutcher seems to fall right in that middle space, where charm to one person feels like arrogance to another. Hollywood is filled with big personalities. Everyone has an opinion, and not everyone will like you. Ashton Kutcher has built a career that's made him millions of fans and more than a few enemies. From Sharon Osbourne's fiery rant, to Kathy Griffin's silent snub, to Charlie Sheen's public rage, to Demi Moore's heartbreak, and Trent Reznor's blunt words, each story adds another piece to the puzzle. So maybe the real question isn't why so many celebrities dislike Ashton Kutcher, but what it says about the entertainment world itself. A world where ego, charm, and power constantly collide. Because in Hollywood, one person's confidence is another person's insult. And behind every smile on the red carpet, there's a story waiting to be told.